here by me, so I didn't bring any beer, so stop caring.
Rocco, we're back here too.
Okay, can you hear me? This is a very simple issue. It's a very simple fight. It's about who controls your body and your mind and your will. You or the frigging state. Alright? And Thomas Jefferson said that when people are afraid of their government, you have a tyranny. That when government is afraid of the people, you have a democracy. And what we got right now is a dictatorship that ignores the rule of law, ignores the Constitution, ignores the Supreme Court of Canada judgments on the Constitution. You have a constitutional right, according to the Supreme Court of Canada, to you want to shut up there? You have a constitutional right to refuse any medical treatment and or procedure. It's not the state that decides that for you, it's you. The vaccine policies that have been put into place recently are illegal, criminal, and unconstitutional. Anytime you say to somebody, if you don't do A, I'll do B, they call that extortion. To coerce unwanted medical treatment is assault. They're uttering threats. Depraved baby Justin is uttering threats as the head of the state during this election campaign. He's threatening you that if you don't take the vaccine, he's going to punish you. That's not just criminal, it's immoral. It's undemocratic. With respect to the PCR test or any other COVID-19 test, Section 3 of the Genetic Non-Discrimination Act makes it a criminal offense punishable by 5 years to administer a DNA or RNA test to determine whether or not you may be susceptible to transmitting a transmittable disease. It's a criminal offense. Every time they ask you or force you to do a PCR, it's a criminal offense punishable by 5 years under that federal legislation. So I'm not going to say any more than there is no magic wand or bullet that's going to get us out of this. The only thing that's going to get us out of tyranny is that every individual who cherishes their liberties and democracy and the rule of law has to stand up. You can't sit at home and expect somebody else to do it for you. Everybody's got to do it for themselves. And so I most often quote Bob Dylan, but I'll leave you with a Bruce Springsteen quote. No retreat, no surrender.
I love that man, right? He is the hardest working person in Canada in the last 2 years. And we sat down and had a conversation a couple years ago, and he's like, you know what, Kelly? When the law works properly, it is a strong system. I want to ask everybody out here, please, stop turning the Canadian flags upside down. You are not victims. You are not victims. This is a democratic country, and we're going to take our authority, and we're going to use the law, and we're going to enforce it. We have our police on our side. We have our lawyers on our side. With the Canadian Democratic Defence Association, we are now in conversations with over 47 employment law firms willing to help the Canadian public on contingency. And there's a lot of people to thank for for that, mainly all of you. The next person I'm going to introduce has been a personal, long-time friend of mine. He ran for city councilor in Willowdale previously. He's had my back more than enough times, more than I can count. Some of them when I was arrested. And he plans on really sticking it to some people on behalf of us. Everybody put your hands together for Mr. Danny DeSantis.
Oh wow, there's a lot of people. You know, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. These are real patriots. These are people that understand what we're dealing with right now. First, my name is Danny DeSantis, and I like when we use that line. You know, there's a beautiful governor down south, and there's still going to be someone very popular with our name, DeSantis in the north, I promise you. You know, we've watched governments, people, politicians that have disregarded our Bill of Rights, our Canadian Charter rights, and threw us all under the bus. We're going to do a movement that Toronto's never seen, and I promise you that when I get elected, that we're going to change it by standing and making one speech that we're not for any sort of mandates, because we were born free and we will live free. What's inspired me, I'll tell you, what's inspired me to do this movement, you know, I'm watching right now this city on its knees. You know, when my parents came, Italian, they came and they immigrated here, we understood about freedom, the ability to move from one part of the city, from the country to another, freedom of speech, and not too long ago we had a problem. We had a problem with our men and women in blue, and that's why we stand here today, because I think they understand what we understand. Freedom. That's what we're fighting for. Our liberties are an attack. Our rights are an attack, and we're going to change this, and it's nice to say that we're on the same side today. We got to pick what side. We got to be on the right side of history, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you this. I promise you this. 1 year from today, we're going to make such a movement that every single politician, particularly on Phillips Square, there's a spineless, a weak mayor, and someone put him on notice, because there's a guy named DeSantis coming, and we're going to change things real quick. We're going to fight for the people because it's the right thing to do. I'm going to run a bipartisan campaign, an inclusive campaign, a campaign that brings people together. So I want to say this, please, keep your head up. Look under that tunnel, that light's there. We're going to get there, we're going to fight. And I'm so happy to see so many people here. My name's Danny DeSantis. I need your support. My support is tell your neighbor, tell your friends. Tell them that there's an ambitious guy that is ready to fight. Because I drew the line a year and a half ago. And we're going to do this, and we're going to be victorious. Keep your chin up, and I love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny, so much. Okay, I don't know if they want to come up and speak, but I understand we have police on guard for these here right now. Would you like to come up and speak? If you want, please come right now to the front. Police on guard for these.
This is also one of the biggest organizations across this country, and one of their representatives yesterday told me that since they decided to infringe upon our civil liberties and force everybody these vaccines, Police on Guard for Thee has had a 400% increase in active duty officers across Canada in 4 days. Everybody hands together. Police on guard for thee.
for you, all right? Real short and sweet for you. I've been a cop for 22 years. I was in the Army before that. I've been in the uniform. I've been a cop for 22 years. Been in uniform all of my life, all of my adult life. I've been in uniform. I've sworn oaths from the time that I was 18 when I was in the Army. Those oaths involve the Charter, and that's what POG is about. Police on Guard is here because of the Charter violations.
Kiss the mic. Keep it close.
You hear me in the back?
Yeah, you're good.
Turn up the mic.
You got me now?
Yeah! Kiss it.
All right, let's run through this again real quick.
Don't turn it too far down.
Been a cop for 22 years. Before that, I was in the Army. And I've sworn oaths to the Charter all the way through my life. Here we are standing for that. Again, that's what POG is about. It's about your Charter rights that have been violated.
Yes!
Mr. Galati is going to help us fight that. All right? And what we need is we need for all of you to stand tall, stand up, and make your voices heard. All right? My brothers and sisters in here, we got your back. All of our jobs are safe. Keep doing good jobs. Keep on the upside. Let's stay safe. And let's have our freedom back.
Canadian frontline nurses.
Hello, Toronto! My name is Kristen Nagel. For some of you that don't know me, I've been a nurse for 14 years until I was terminated in January for speaking against the narrative. But there's a shift happening. Who was out yesterday to support our healthcare workers? We are the Canadian frontline nurses, and we are here at the front lines of this battle. We have made a choice, and we are here to protect the public, and we stand by our oath, and we have taken this honor with us to the grave. And we are here to stand on these front lines for all of you here today. And we know that everyone has a choice. Every healthcare worker, every teacher, every police, everyone that is here as guardians of the community, we all have a choice to make. And we are here to stand up for what is right, for the truth, and for freedom. And yes, there's a huge shift happening. People are ready to stand up and fight. 10,000 people showed up in Vancouver yesterday to support the healthcare workers. I know many are scared, many are afraid to lose their jobs, many aren't sure of what to do, but we're all feeling it. Take that fear, take that anger, take that anxiety, and use it to fuel you, to push you forward. Because we are here to make the new world, to make this beautiful world, to create new frameworks, to leave the corruption behind, and create a beautiful place for our future generations and our children. Create that momentum and know that we are on the right side of history. As scary as it is, we are protected, and we are going to be okay, and we're all moving forward to make the change we want to see. So I'll leave you with that. Looks like everyone's ready for the next speaker to come up. But I love you all, and know that the nurses are here. We're ready to fight for you.
So, for the last 3 months, we traveled all across Canada. different cities. We had a really good time. And I had a funky couple of roommates along that trip. But my favorite one is likely yours as well. Everybody put your hands together for Chris
Look at this crowd today. What do we have here? What do we have? We have the people aligned with the police and the draconian government. And what do we call that, everybody? United Non-Compliance! I told you all that the police would eventually have to draw a line in the sand. The police would eventually have to honor their oath to our Constitution, their oath to themselves, their oath to their families, their oath to their country. And today is that day. And when they stepped up to the plate for us, as you see, we stepped up to the plate for them. So give yourselves a round of applause. Give the police a round of applause. The Toronto police are one of the best police, in my opinion, in the entire world. When your service members put themselves on the line for you, what bigger respect can you pay them but doing the same thing back? That is how we get through this. Everybody has freedom of choice. And I don't care how many times Trudeau's going to tell us, he's not going to take that away from us. He's not going to take it away from me. He's not going to take it away from you. He's not going to take it away from anyone. And let's make one thing very clear. This is not an anti-mask or anti-vax rally. This is a pro-freedom rally. I want to see the mask here. I want to see the vax here. Because we don't care if you want to wear a mask. I still love you. I just want us to have the freedom of choice that makes Canada, Canada. And I think we all do. I tried to warn you guys. Like 18 months ago, I told you everything that was going to happen. And the mere words, vaccine passport, made me a crazy conspiracy theorist. Now that it's here, even 6 weeks ago when Doug Ford said, we're not going to do a vaccine passport. I told you all, that's called pacification followed by predictive programming. I told you all, there's going to be an election. I told you, Trudeau's probably going to win it. But even if O'Toole, the only other person mathematically possible, does, we already see how the Conservatives run a province. We know how they run the country. There is no political solution to this problem. They want us arguing about our favorite politician while they slip the vaccine passport in the back door. But we're not going to do that. We're organizing against it as we speak. And how are we doing it? We have groups in every province. The one in Vancouver, British Columbia, has over 100,000 businesses. The one in Ontario has almost 100,000 businesses. And we're growing every day. And they think they're going to install this vaccine certificate and then the next month they're going to make it an electronic document on our phone? What do you think this is, Nazi Germany 2021? All of a sudden segregation's okay as long as Trudeau says it is. No, it's not okay. It never was okay. It never will be. We do not tolerate discrimination. We do not tolerate segregation. And we do not tolerate taking away our rights and our freedoms and our medical privacy. We're not going to tolerate it. So how are we going to fight back? They're threatening you with fines. Oh, you're going to get a $750 fine. I've gotten about $100,000 of those friggin' toilet paper. And they're the most expensive toilet paper I've ever used. And guess what? Just like we did with the hotel quarantine. What happened to that? They don't talk about it anymore. Why? Because it doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? Because I made a little airport video. where I walked through and I simply reminded Canadians that we have rights and we have freedoms, and I showed you how to assert those rights and freedoms and how to fight the fake fines. And what happened? When I did it, absolutely nothing happened. But when all of you started doing it too, to the tune of tens of thousands of Canadians in united non-compliance, we overwhelmed the system. A friend of mine got his ticket back with a court date of 2030. Yeah. So what do you think's going to happen when they roll out this vaccine passport? I am saying every single one of you have a duty as a Canadian to go out and get a fine. The very first day. Let's show them what's going to happen when they want to make a law that makes us all criminals. We're going to act like criminals. You want to make us outlaws, we're going to act like outlaws. What are you going to do with 10 million outlaws? You want to fight? We're ready. Every single day I talk, every single time I've been doing a rally, the next day they have to write a mainstream media article to try to debunk everything I say. Try to mischaracterize it. How are you going to mischaracterize this? Mainstream media, aka fake news, aka government propaganda mouthpiece. Are you going to say the police weren't really here in front of their headquarters protesting against the vaccine? Are you going to say that people didn't really come and back them like you tried to do with the firefighters in Niagara? Are you really going to try to pull that card? Go for it. Look what's happening to Trudeau when he goes to his events. Do I really need to say another word? Now. Guys, you might like that. We're supposed to be holding these people accountable and punishing them, not giving them their wildest dreams. Come on, guys. But Trudeau is most likely going to win the election. What's going to happen is they're going to lock us down. They're going to blame the rising cases that are going to be mostly in the vaccinated on a new variant. They're going to make up a name like COVID-22, a super strain, Delta Plus. And the best part is, they're going to blame it on the healthy unvaccinated. Why? Because they're so weak that they can't do anything to us. They have to try to get us to fight each other. But what they're trying to do with this massive division is only going to backfire. Because I'm telling you what they're doing before they do it. So you got to go out and tell everybody, especially your friends that took the jab, especially the ones that have been telling you, oh, all we need to do to get through this is comply. You believe me now that where compliance leads you? Do you really need to comply any longer to see where it's going to keep leading you? Or you think you're ready for a little united non-compliance? And they're not ready. That's why they're trying to turn us against each other. They would love it if they could get the jabbed people so angry and so afraid of the unjabbed. Think of the mask wearers versus the non-mask wearers, but like 10 times worse. That's what they're envisioning. And not only will that allow them to have us fighting amongst each other, just like we're doing now at the stupid election, and I'll explain how they're doing that in a second, but the more we fight amongst each other with that, they can do their agenda. The election is the biggest way to divide people. People in the freedom movement first of all, they tried to call me controlled opposition. Really? How am I controlled? I've been arrested over a dozen times. I've accumulated over $100,000 in fines and legal fees close to that. I'm currently on 6 separate bails, each one of them with their own conditions, including things like not being able to drive, not being able to fly, having my house raided and all my legally owned firearms taken, not being able to speak in Ontario while they were under stay-at-home order, which was only rescinded in June, and then I'm on bail to that. I literally have to take orders from that, and my wife now. So now I have 2 people in my wife that I have to listen to 24 hours a day, or I'm going to be sent back to jail. Why are they doing this to me? Because they want to make an example of people who stand up. But all they're doing is proving that really, they can't do anything. They haven't stopped me from speaking. They haven't stopped me from spreading the word. Yesterday, if you saw during the worldwide lockout, I heard people chanting all the way from Vancouver, tens of thousands of them. Just say no. Just say no.
Just say no! Just say no! Just say no!
And it works.
Say no! Just say no!
And that's all we have to do. See how easy that was? See how easy that was? It took 2 seconds to start that chant. It takes even less than that to look someone and say no. That's all we have to do, and this ends. And when the businesses are already on board, and the people are already on board, and the police are already on board, it's now the government and their fake news to try to convince us to go along with it. Why do they need the vaccine passport? And why do they need this massive compliance? Do you guys know what the new vaccination target is for Ontario? 100+%, whatever the hell that means. It means they're going to give you an extra shot, some of you, just to be extra safe. That's the target for Ontario. And I got a document leaked to me, and I'm going to say it right here, and it's a Toronto police document. Surprise, surprise. I get things from people that don't like what's going on. And each one of us has a little file of our COVID vaccination history attached to our name. And they already have 4 separate shots allocated to each and every one of you. Well, they've been telling you, never just take your shot, you're going to be okay. Now it's 2 shots, now it's 3 shots. Now they already let the cat out of the bag. It's going to be 3 shots a year until they say otherwise. And then they can add other things in there. Why not yearly blood samples? Why not other things? They can do anything, right? They're doing it right now, and we're letting them. That's the only reason this is happening, because we're letting them.
Every 3 months, you're shot.
That's what we need to do. We need to hold these people accountable. But the first thing we need to do is get our freedoms back.
Yes!
Remember the phases of united non-compliance, ladies and gentlemen. Phase 1 was the global awakening. That's when people like me and others like me woke up billions around the world to the reality that this has nothing to do with health and safety and everything to do with control. It's that simple. That's it. That's it. And once people actually understand that, all the propaganda, all the lies, all the things they use to keep you pacified and asleep no longer work. Once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep and you can wake up others. Phase 2 is taking action. And that's where we are now. And we were so good at it that they have to go ultra draconian. They have to show their hand. This whole time they tried to pretend like they were your friend. They were giving you ice cream cones, Krispy Kreme donuts. They were giving you lottery tickets to get the vax. Now all of a sudden it's, you can't work, you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't live life, and you're a piece of garbage terrorist. You understand where this is going next? If you don't, just have a look at Australia. They're already raiding over 2,000 homes a day and picking people up and bringing them into involuntary detention centers. My wife made it. Come up here, please. We were stuck in traffic. I literally had to get out of the car and run. This is my beautiful wife, Jenny. They actually tried to take her away from me in the most recent arrest. Yes, of all the other conditions that I told you weren't enough, in order for them to release me, and why did they arrest me in the first place? They arrested me twice in the last 5 days. And since I'm opening a professional standards investigation against the Winnipeg police, because they're the most corrupt police force in Canada, I'm going to make this public. We went to Winnipeg, August 23rd. And I want the world to know this because they're lying, and they tried to lie in a news broadcast after, and